Hello and welcome to PFP Media. And in this week's feature, we are taking a look at my favourite club, Tottenham Hot. Oh, I can't even say it. We're taking a look at the Tottenham Hotspur and Harry Kane and Son Heung-min in particular, and strike partnerships across the history of the Premier League in general. Now, it goes without saying, Harry Kane and Son Heung-min have been in formidable form this season for Spurs. Kane has 10 goals and 11 assists in the Premier League alone, and Son has 12 goals and 5 assists. Just incredible start to the season. They've developed an almost telepathic understanding, especially devastating on the counter-attack. The ball is played into Kane on the halfway line or thereabouts. Without even looking up, he turns his man and picks a pinpoint pass through to Son Heung-min, who left foot, right foot, outside the box, inside the box. It doesn't matter. It seems that 9 times out of 10, the ball finds its way to the back of the net and a goal for Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur. What's interesting is that this is a strike partnership that isn't a strike partnership. Spurs play a 4-2-3-1. Kane is a central striker and Son as a left winger. But such is the modern game that even the conservative, pragmatic Mourinho, of all people, is able to set up his side so that in certain circumstances Kane drops into the 10 and Son plays high up in the kind of Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid left wing position. Very reminiscent to what how Ronaldo combined with Karim Benzema. Obviously, Kane a lot more a lot better passer than Benzema, I think it's fair to say, although Benzema has good qualities in the pass as well. What's interesting is that Kane and Son almost stand alone as a strike partnership in the Premier League. I mean, there is Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood at Burnley, but they have just 1 and 3 goals in the league respectively so far this season. And when looking at the top half of the table, the majority of the clubs rely on the combination of their entire front three. That was supposed to be the case with Spurs as well this season. Let's not forget that they brought Gareth Bale back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on loan, but for a variety of reasons that hasn't quite worked out as everyone would have hoped. And right now, there is, unfortunately for Bale, no case for adding him to the Spurs attack. The role of right wing, which Bale is perhaps most accustomed to, in the current Spurs team is an unenviable one, entirely unselfish, and performed extremely well so far this season by either Steven Bergwijn or Lucas Moura. And it got me thinking, we haven't seen an elite strike partnership in some time, and I'm curious as to where Kane and Son rank in terms of the best strike partners in Premier League history. Now, for me, as someone who grew up watching football in the 1990s, late 1990s and early 2000s, the two strike partnerships that stand out the most are Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole, obviously for Manchester United between about 1998 and 2001, and Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry for Arsenal between 1999 and 2006. And even thinking about other strike partnerships, Niall Quinn and Kevin Phillips were devastating for Sunderland. Michael Owen and Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen and Emile Heskey for Liverpool. More recently, Nicolas Anelka and Didier Drogba. Decent, but none really compare to Yorke and Cole and Bergkamp and Henry. Those are the two best. Good Johnson and Hasselbank at Chelsea is another shout. Yorke and Cole were magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. And like Kane and Son, they had a telepathic understanding of one another's movements. They played their best football together and linked up lethally for United as two out-and-out number 9s, although Yorke did drop a little deeper on occasion, and of course he finished his career as a central defensive midfielder. Bergkamp and Henry, also magnificent, but they were two elite forwards who excelled just as much for their national sides as they did for Arsenal. I'm not saying that Kane and Son don't excel for their national sides, but they are far, far better as a duo for Spurs. Bergkamp was integral for the Netherlands in the 1990s, as was Henry for France in the 2000s. Bergkamp linking up with the likes of Patrick Kluivert and Henry with Zinedine Zidane, David Trezeguet, Robert Pires and Nicolas Anelka. The list of those French attacking players in the early 2000s is just unbelievably good. It's not that Bergkamp and Henry didn't develop a telepathic understanding, perhaps they did, but rather they were such good players, complemented each other's games so well, and linked up so well with Arsenal's wide midfielders that it just wasn't necessary for them to develop a telepathic understanding in the same way that Kane and Son do for Spurs. Arsenal under Arsene Wenger in the late 90s and early 2000s played total football with every outfield player contributing to the attacking play. Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson at the same time were much more direct. David Beckham and Paul Scholes played long passes, Ryan Giggs dribbled the length of the pitch, and York and Cole linked up telepathically in the opposition's half. Kane and Son are far more similar to York and Cole than they are to Bergkamp and Henry, despite the fact that the positions they pick up are far more similar to the ones that Bergkamp and Henry picked up for Arsenal. The way Mourinho sets up is to get as many men behind the ball as possible, draw the opposition in, and then release Kane and Son on the counter-attack to devastating effect, because he knows he can rely on them to produce stunning moments of attacking football. As mentioned before, Son and Kane have 12 and 10 goals in the Premier League respectively, and to put that into perspective, their next highest scorer in the Premier League is Tanguy Ndombele with 2. Spurs are reliant on Son and Kane for goals in a way that those great Arsenal and United teams weren't on their main strikers. For United, Paul Scholes, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs all chipped in with goals from midfield, and they had great backup strikers as well, most notably in the shape of Teddy Sheringham and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. For Arsenal, Bergkamp's role became far more of a facilitator in his latter years, despite him being used as a main striker in his early Arsenal career, while goals came from Henry, Sylvain Wiltord, Robert Pires and Freddie Ljungberg. It remains to be seen whether Spurs can get over their trophy drought this season. They are, of course, in the final of the League Cup against Manchester City, reigning champions Manchester City, still in the FA Cup, and they have progressed to the knockout stages of the Europa League. However, in order to be compared with York and Cole and Bergkamp and Henry as the greatest strike partnership in the history of the Premier League, they will have to do far more than that and bring home league title after league title. If not, despite their telepathic understanding, incredible form and undoubted world-class quality, they will go down as another Suarez and Sturridge. Close, but no cigar. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. We'll be back later on in the week after the midweek fixtures to review every game on our podcast, the Premier Football Podcast, and I'll be back next week with another feature video and over the weekend with another piece on our website. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and see you next time.